Teaching English for 20 years. Yes, I'm that old. I see my students making mistakes like these almost every day. We're going to start with an example, then we'll go over the rules and a whole bunch more examples. Okay, we're going to start with this word. You might be thinking, wait, that's a really easy word. There's no way I'm mispronouncing that. You know what? Let's do a few more examples right here from the beginning. This word, and also this word. Look at all of these words. They have something in common. The mistake students make is the same. All of these words have more than one pronunciation. Native speakers almost always do the short one, and non-native speakers almost always do the long one, and that sounds less natural. We have family or family, interesting or interesting, comfortable or comfortable, vegetable or vegetable. By doing the shorter pronunciation yourself, you'll sound more natural speaking English, and also, good news, the shorter pronunciation is easier. So it's not family, but it's family. Just 2 syllables. Family. Family. Do you say it with 3 syllables? Family. Pronounce it with 2. You'll sound more natural. Let's go hear 10 Americans saying this word.
Part of the story of how my family ended up in California.
To balance work and family.
All a tremendous social cost to his children, to his family, and to his peers.
So it turns out that the average single-family household in the U.S.
Oxytocin makes you crave physical contact with your friends and family.
Fellow residents, family, nurses, volunteers.
I loved growing up in a big family.
His family in Bangladesh begged him, come home.
A lot of my family and friends think that what I do,
every last interest in your personal life and your family life be the most wonderful.
Family. 2 syllables. Family. 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 Say that with me. Family. Now, forget the sentences. Let's just hear the word family.
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 family,
Family.
family, family,
Family.
family,
Family.
family,
Family.
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 family,
Family.
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 family,
Family. Family.
family, family.
That's a lot of family. You listen to it that many times and you realize, wow, this is what native speakers usually do. Family. 2 syllables, simple. Family. What about vegetable? Do you say it vegetable? I hear my students do that all the time. I've almost never heard a native speaker do that. Vegetable, not vegetable. Just 3 syllables with first syllable stress. Vegetable. All right, let's go over to Youglish to see and hear lots of examples.
It could be the vegetable oils, it could be
Really controversial ingredient called brominated vegetable oil.
Long story short, 1/8 the water per pound of vegetable produced.
So there are things like vegetable peelers or spatulas.
My students made a vegetable garden for the village. Is that she worked at a vegetable stand.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you want that meat, and sometimes you just want vegetables, and sometimes you want both.
Beautiful flowers, nice little vegetable garden in the corner.
And half of what you eat should be a fruit or vegetable.
1 in 4 meals contains an unprocessed vegetable.
Vegetable. 3 syllables. Vegetable. Vegetable. Say that with me. Vegetable. Now again, let's hear just the word, not the whole sentence. You'll really feel that 3-syllable rhythm.
vegetable.
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 Vegetable. Vegetable. Vegetable.
Vegetables.
Vegetables.
Vegetable.
Vegetable.
Vegetable, vegetable,
Vegetable.
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 vegetable,
Vegetable.
Vegetable.
vegetable,
Vegetable. Vegetable.
Vegetables. Vegetable.
Vegetable.
vegetable,
Vegetable.
Vegetable.
Vegetable. 3 syllables, simple. This word. I hear my students pronounce it interesting. Interesting. 4 syllables. Now, there are a couple of ways native speakers pronounce this word in American English, but the most common by far is interesting. Interesting. So in doing this, they drop the vowel between T and R, so now we have a TR cluster. This is often pronounced CHR, so that's why you might hear a CH sound in this word. Interesting. Let's go to Youglish and listen to Americans pronouncing this word.
As expansive and interesting.
I thought it'd be interesting to start.
One thing that's really interesting to me about, but instead of traveling to crazy, interesting, far-off places, and it was interesting because when we looked into the data, actually, when I'm working with other people, I think a lot of new and interesting things kind of come out of that.
What I find interesting, Moby, is
there's some very interesting work.
And I looked around and it's interesting.
So I think the things that I find most interesting.
Interesting or intrasting. You might hear a true T instead of the CH, though the CH is more common. Interesting or interesting. Now, occasionally, you'll hear a native speaker make this 4 syllables, and in that case, there's a good chance you're not going to hear that T at all. Interesting. It's common to drop a T after N, so that's what happens here. I noticed Rick Steves doing this as I was listening to examples.
But it's actually quite interesting. It's in Gibraltar. It's quite interesting, quite interesting.
But what I want you to take away from this is just go with the most common pronunciation. Change your habit. Not interesting, but interesting. Interesting. Let's listen to just this word many times.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting, interesting, interesting.
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 It's interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting, interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting,
Interesting.
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 Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Say that with me. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, comfortable. I hear my students say comfortable. 4 syllables. How do native speakers say it?
Yep. It's safe and comfortable and common to.
And it's not a genuine or comfortable. So I think it's time for us to be comfortable with the uncomfortable conversation. You go ahead and sit back in your comfortable chair. But we're not so comfortable.
Either assertive, confident, and comfortable. I hope is that we all feel more comfortable.
Because if they're comfortable, they can receive your message.
It was hard to find like a comfortable working.
And just find out what you're comfortable with. But
Comfortable. 3 syllables, first syllable stress. Comfortable. You might hear the T as a D. Comfortable. Or you might hear it as a T. Comfortable. Both are common. D is probably more common. Every once in a while, you'll hear a native speaker pronounce this as 4 syllables, but not often. Simplify it. 3 syllables. Comfortable. Let's listen to just this word many times.
Comfortable, 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 comfortable,
Comfortable, comfortable,
Comfortable.
Comfortable.
comfortable, 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 comfortable,
comfortable,
Comfortable.
Comfortable.
comfortable,
Comfortable.
comfortable,
Comfortable.
comfortable,
comfortable,
Comfortable.
comfortable, comfortable,
Comfortable.
comfortable,
Comfortable.
comfortable, and comfortable.
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 Say that with me. Comfortable. Comfortable. Okay, so how are you supposed to know in which words you can drop a syllable? Is it chocolate? Or do most Americans say chocolate?
Buy some popcorn, chocolate.
Into shoes, if you're into chocolate, some beautiful gourmet chocolate.
Let's say for chocolate.
It tastes like chocolate milk. It's totally delicious.
3 days from now, I'm going to gorge on ice cream or chocolate cake.
Okay, so it's 2 syllables. Chocolate. Well, is it favorite or favorite?
I'll share with you my favorite poem, Chief Tecumseh.
But my favorite effect on the body is actually on the heart.
They're even, and this is my personal favorite example, superstar dentists.
Who said that his favorite song out of his repertoire.
My favorite way to reveal I speak the language, though.
One of my favorite writers. And
Okay, so it's 2 syllables. Favorite. There isn't an absolute rule because there are so few absolute rules in American English pronunciation, but there are some guidelines that can help you know when to drop a syllable. When we drop a sound or syllable like this, it's called syncope. The example given here in this is probably. This word is often pronounced probly, 2 syllables. probably. I do have a video specifically on that word. I'll link to it in the video description. But that doesn't actually follow the rule. As I said, it's not a perfect rule, it's more of a guideline. And the guideline is, an unstressed vowel might be dropped if the next sound is R, L, or a nasal consonant, M, N, NG. Let's look at the words we already studied. Family. That was an unstressed vowel followed by M. It does follow that guideline. Vegetable. Here, the dropped vowel wasn't followed by R, L, or a nasal consonant, so that one doesn't follow the guidelines. Interesting. That one does. The unstressed vowel was followed by R. Comfortable. Also followed by R. Favorite. Followed by R. Chocolate. Followed by L. Does follow the guideline. Now I'm going to go over a few more common words here that have two different pronunciations, with one being shortened and that one more common. We won't go look them up on Youglish, but I invite you to do that. It's a great way to do research on how Americans actually pronounce different words and phrases. Different. 2 syllables, not different, but different. Say that with me. Different. Camera. Should be camera. Say that with me. Camera. Catholic. We say that Catholic. 2 syllables. Say that with me. Catholic. Interest. Again, we say this is 2 syllables. Interest. This is just like shortening interesting. Interest. Say that with me. Interest. Listening is often listening. Listening. Say that with me. Listening. Notice the T is silent there. That's not part of the syncope. That's just the pronunciation. Even in the full pronunciation of the word, that's silent. Memory is often mem-ry. Memory. Say that with me. Memory. Traveling is often traveling. 2 syllables. Say that with me. Traveling. Natural is often natural. Just 2 syllables. Try that with me. Natural. Actually is often pronounced actually. 3 syllables instead of 4. Actually. Restaurant is often restaurant. 2 syllables. And sometimes you'll hear a CH because of that TR cluster. Restaurant. Restaurant. Try that with me. Restaurant. Separate is often separate. 2 syllables. Say that with me. Separate. Several is often several. Say that with me. Several. Temperature is often temperature. Temperature. Say that with me. Temperature. Now here's a word that isn't a syncope, but it's a word that's often mispronounced by non-native speakers because they put an extra syllable in it. Business. It looks like it should have an extra syllable in the middle. Business. But that's not the actual pronunciation. That is a 2-syllable word. Business. Business. Both syllables have the I vowel, even though one is spelled with the letter U and the other is spelled with the letter E. Business. Say that with me. Business. This is true of every as well. The actual pronunciation isn't 3 syllables. That's not what you'll see in a dictionary. But I do hear my students do that sometimes. The pronunciation is 2 syllables. Every. Every. Try that with me. Every. Okay, now, the guidelines that I gave you. Remember that some of the syncopes we studied didn't follow these guidelines. Well, there are a lot of words that have an unstressed vowel followed by one of these consonants where we don't drop it. That's why I didn't really want to call it a rule. For example, someone asked me about the word lottery. There's an unstressed vowel, the schwa, followed by the R, but we wouldn't drop that syllable, turning it into a 2-syllable word, lot-ry. This is still a 3-syllable word, lottery, lottery. So this is something you have to learn as you go. As you learn new words, as you notice how Americans pronounce things. If you're ever not sure, go to Youglish and hear 25 different people pronouncing the word. They might not all be exactly the same, but you can see which pronunciation is the most common. Can you think of a syncope that was not mentioned in this video? Put it in the comments below.